everyone. Welcome back to the Niche Pursuits podcast. I'm your host, Spencer Hawes from nichepursuits.com. And today is a really great interview with Sam Williamson from linkjump.co.uk. Sam is a longtime Niche Pursuits reader and podcast listener. In fact, we talk about that a little bit in the interview here. But Sam builds his own affiliate websites, but he also has a very small link building agency. But I brought him on to talk specifically about some link building strategies. And through this interview, you're going to hear three very specific strategies, and he covers them in depth, very step-by-step processes that I believe after you listen to this podcast, you can go and implement these three link building strategies right now on your website. So the first one is broken link building. Yes, broken link building has been around for a long time, but Sam shares some tweaks to that strategy using Wikipedia and some other strategies there that I think are pretty cool. The next one is niche subreddit link building, and I'll let him dive into what that is exactly and how to make that work. And then finally, Creative Commons images link building, how to use images to both get links and hopefully drive some traffic to your website. So if you're looking for some unique or new ways to build links to your website that are 100% white hat, you should listen to this interview. Sam Williamson from linkjump.co.uk definitely delivers here. So I hope you enjoy the interview. Hey, Sam, welcome to the Niche Pursuits podcast.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. It's an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, we connected just not too long ago, but as I understand, you've been sort of reading along with Niche Pursuits for a little while. How did you first come across Niche Pursuits?
You know, I sort of just after university, so I left university sort of early 2015, and I was very jaded with the idea of going into the world of work, 9 to 5 sort of thing. So I was, during that sort of brief period between leaving university and getting a job, I was sort of frantically looking for information online about other things that I could do. And I totally just stumbled across Niche Pursuits and your content. And I remember listening to a few episodes. The one that really sticks in my mind is the one about the woman who was a dentist, and I remember her strategy actually. It was site : all in title : and things like that. She was using these sort of search parameters to determine the competitiveness. And for somebody like me who, you know, I was reading about niche sites initially and thinking, this seems expensive. I need to get some tools. I don't have money. She basically said, just look at the SERPs, just look at the competition. And that really resonated with me. I was just trying to do it on, bootstrap it as cheap as I could. And just from there, I remember just following along for a long time. So, yeah, it's a delight to be on.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you. It's great to have people that have been either listening to the podcast or reading sort of reach out and want to give back a little bit. And so that's definitely what you're here for. People who are curious about what episode you're referring to, the dentist, that was Claire Smith. It was podcast episode number 57. People can look through that. It's to this date, I believe it's been the most popular episode that I've ever recorded still to this day. So
wow. Yeah, I think there was just something that resonated with people about, there was no pretense with her. She just sounded like a very polite, normal lady, and she was obviously just absolutely killing it. So it really struck a chord with me, especially.
Absolutely. Yep. It was a great episode. So to get a little bit more background on you, you kind of mentioned you were going to university and you had a period there where maybe you worked for a little bit but weren't that interested. Maybe just give us sort of your work experience and how that led to online business.
Yeah, sure. So at university, I studied languages. I was always kind of determined to learn languages, and I wanted to travel. It was probably around my second year of university I started to realize actually, unless I was a freelance translator or something like that, it was very likely that I was going to end up being a teacher, which didn't excite me too much at the time, especially when I'm still young. So I started to dip my toes into some freelance translation. And that was, I was finding people on a website called Gumtree, which the equivalent in the USA is Craigslist.
Okay.
And finding people who, they just wanted a document translated, and, I would get paid into my PayPal account. And there was this very offhand, freelancey sort of feel to it, which really excited me at the time because, I was doing the maths in my head. I thought I'd only need, 10 people like this per month, and I could earn as much as I would earn if I was working at a supermarket or something like that. And my mind started racing with kind of the idea of working for myself. And yeah, that's kind of where that seed was planted. And then, as I say, I started thinking a bit bigger, thinking about, building my own website and growing it using traffic, realizing that, the best traffic was organic traffic. And then I sort of, went down. That's how I sort of got into the SEO.
So did you essentially never really work for anybody else? I mean, it sounds like you started doing freelance stuff, and then that sort of has led into what you're doing now.
I've worked at a couple of agencies, and again, I wouldn't change that experience for the world. While I was at the agencies, I was still experimenting with my own things, but I learned so much working. They were both digital marketing agencies, I should say, and I was in an SEO role in both of them. I learned so much about tools, about talking to clients, about having to work to extremely tight deadlines and having to get really creative. At my first agency, I was having to build links for almost 10 different websites, and I had zero budget allocated to link building. So that at the time, it caused me a huge amount of stress, but now I look back at it and think a lot of the things that I do now are completely down to, how creative I had to get during those early days. So I'm grateful for that experience.
Yeah, good learning experience for sure.
Totally.
That is paying off for you. So why don't you talk a little bit about your business right now? I know you have a couple of different things going on. Maybe just give listeners an idea of what you're involved in, what your business looks like right now.
Yeah, okay, cool. So, sort of my main thing, I suppose what I'm talking about today is link building, and my business, my link building business is called Link Jump. At the moment, I just deal with a handful of clients. I'm not sort of in the business of trying to service as many people as possible. I like to work really closely with clients who kind of get my ethos and I'm bought into what they're doing. And I typically find that works best. There's going to be some ideas that maybe I put forward that people won't necessarily want to buy into because it's going to require them to, maybe produce content or put content on the site in places where they don't want it and things like that. Take a risk, take a punt. But if I can find businesses like that, luckily I have managed to find businesses like that. I find nothing really more exciting than that. And I also do a lot of affiliate marketing. It's another important part of my income. Again, a lot of that activity is powered by link building, competing in some pretty competitive industries. And yeah, one of the great things about the affiliate marketing is, you're not just powering a client site, you're powering your own project. And you can afford to be even more creative, because you're not representing a brand, you're representing yourself. You can take more risks. So yeah, that's kind of the breakup at the moment.
So how many affiliate sites are you working on right now?
It's mainly just one large one, to be honest.
Okay.
There is another one that I've had for a long time, which has been quite a consistent earner. But there's one large one, which, it's one of those great sites that's sort of become an authority site, and you can publish things and they're indexed very quickly, and, they can start getting traffic pretty quickly, provided that they're sort of low to medium competition terms. And I just think, it's not too niche. It's quite a broad sort of topic, but, there's a lot of shoulder niches, as I call them. So there's lots of different areas that I can dip into.
Right.
Kind of like, Dollar Sprout, who was on the
yes.
a few episodes ago. It's quite a broad topic that site covers, but they can dip into lots of different little niches and create content within those niches. So that's kind of how I've tried to structure this site as well, and it's working well.
So how well is it working? Like, can you give us an idea of income numbers or other success numbers for the affiliate sites?
Yeah, sure. So last month, my affiliate income was around about $8,000. So it's a good chunk of income. And
That's great.
certainly if you'd told me, in 2015 when I was translating 1,000 words for $10 that I would have a site making that much, I wouldn't believe you. But it's possible. And also I'm writing about something that I'm very interested in anyway. So it's a great position to be in. I'm looking forward to continuing to scale it and grow it.
Absolutely. No, very good. That's $8,000 a month is a big number. I mean, honestly, that's more money than most people make, full time with a regular job. Yeah. So it's pretty cool what you can do with building your own websites, and especially being an affiliate where you don't actually own any products. You're just referring people to other places. So I want to jump into link building because certainly that's where your expertise lies. You even have a small agency where you're doing link building, but you're of course doing it on your own sites as well. Yeah. Let's dive into some specific link building strategies. What's a strategy that you would recommend for people building niche affiliate websites?
If I had to hang my hat on one strategy, and I mean only one, I would say broken link building, 100%. I just think there's something so wholesome about it, something so long-term. You're not just building links, you're going to build connections. It's completely white hat. It's very safe. You're going to get links inserted on pages with age, pages which are ranking for terms, which could drive referral traffic. There's really, it's literally a case of, emailing people, telling them about a broken link on a page on their site and offering your content as a replacement. It's so simple and it's very scalable as well, which is why I like it. So yeah, if there was one sort of tactic that I would recommend to anybody with an affiliate site, I would say broken link building. And actually, if you're ever struggling to think of, new content for your affiliate site, then what I would actually recommend is finding broken links in your niche. So, something I love to do is head to the Wikipedia page of, or the various Wikipedia pages that are related to what your website topic is. Look in the external links section at the bottom of the Wikipedia article and check for any broken links down there. Usually you'll find a few, and then you want to stick that URL, or if it's an entire site, even better, into Ahrefs and export the external links and have a look at what those sites were linking to previously. So what this dead page or website used to be, and then think about how you could create a version of that. And not just to collect the links, but also to potentially rank for a term that's relevant to your site. And I think that's a great way. If you're ever sort of sat staring at the computer and you're thinking, I'm going to publish this 5,000 word article and I don't even know if it's going to rank, I think it can be a really good way to kind of reverse engineer it. Start with knowing where you're going to get the links from, and then build the content. So that's something I really like about it as well. It gives every piece of content a purpose.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I want to break this down so it's as easy and step-by-step to follow for listeners here as possible. So I think probably everybody knows what broken links are, so maybe we don't need to dive into too much, what that is. I think you explained that pretty well. Mm-hmm. But one strategy, I guess you're saying, is step one is look up certain topics that might be in your niche on Wikipedia, right?
Yeah. So I would always start with Wikipedia because it's the kind of the biggest resource on the internet. There's always external links at the bottom of those pages. And actually, one little pro tip that you can use is if, say, for example, you've got a website about furniture and you find a Wikipedia page about recliner chairs. So you look in the external links section at the bottom. You don't find any broken links. Mm-hmm. But what you can then do is take that Wikipedia page and put it into a tool called the Wayback Machine, which shows you what a page used to look like over the years. So sometimes it can go back as far as kind of 10 years,
Right.
And you can put that Wikipedia page into the Wayback Machine and, check 5 years ago for the websites that were in the external links section. Check 7 years ago. You're going to find even more websites that were broken and then removed and then replaced. And you could compile a great little list of deleted pages and websites that no longer exist, and that can really form the basis of your content.
So are you really doing all of this manually?
So something I'm a big believer in is that 90% of broken link building is the prospecting. I've tried a huge amount to scale, automate, essentially make the prospecting easier. And I've always been kind of let down a little bit by some of the tools that I've used. I've played around with things like Scrapebox, but really, I don't think anything beats just getting your hands dirty and having a look. The worst thing you want to do is waste time prospecting, because if I'm emailing sites and I'm telling them about broken links on their website, I want to make sure that they are the perfect prospect, that I know that their website is up to date. I know that they're accepting corrections to their website, for example. I want to make sure that every email I send has got a high probability of resulting in a link. So I think the key to that is spending time with the prospecting.
Okay. Yeah.
But that's just a lot of people do say, you could use this, you could use that. That's fair enough. I think it should all be adapted, experimented with, but that's just the way I like to do it. I think I'm a bit of a perfectionist in that way.
Yeah, no, that's good to know. I was just curious if you were doing it manually, and for listeners, certainly those just starting out, I mean, that makes it easy. If they don't have to use any fancy tools, they can just go out and they can, visually see and check on what links are broken, and go from there.
I mean, with Wikipedia, certainly with the Wikipedia links, that can be done very quickly manually. Quite often, another thing that I'll do using a tool, Ahrefs, which I highly rate, is they've got a great function, which is a broken links function, where you can put a domain into Ahrefs and then check for any outgoing broken links that they have from their site. So something I love to do, say for example, I'm in the travel niche, something I'll love to do is take the biggest sites in that niche, put them into Ahrefs, check for the outgoing broken links, and then in a new tab, check each broken link to see if any other sites are linking to it, and then add them to my list of, broken pages for content recreation. That's another little thing that you can do. Again, that requires a tool, so it's a bit more, perhaps a bit more advanced, but.
No, that's good. So, sorry, I may take a slight step back just to get the steps here. So going back to the Wikipedia one, right? Step one, sort of find the broken links, whether that's on the existing Wikipedia page or using the Wayback Machine to find those broken external links on the Wikipedia page from, a few years ago. Once you find those broken links, then you recreate a piece of content that they were linking to, correct?
Yeah. So, so you've got the broken link, the broken page. Then you've got the people who are still linking to that broken page, and those are our prospects, the people who are still linking.
Right. So I guess there is a step two there, right? Is finding who's linking to that broken page, right?
Yes. So that would require, your backlink tool, Ahrefs, Majestic, whatever it is.
Yes. Okay.
And then, I suppose the step 3 would be to find out what the content was on that broken page. Again, you can use the Wayback Machine, or quite often what I'll do is I'll just look at the context of the links that are still pointing to the broken URL and just figure out what it was from that. Yeah.
Okay. And then the next step is to then reach out to those sites that were linking to that old broken page. And how do you do that? Maybe walk through the outreach process.
Well, if you'd asked me 12 months ago, you probably would have been quite surprised again. It was all very manual. It was, it was literally just opening up my Gmail and writing a rough email along the lines of, hey, I'm writing regarding this page on your website. There's a broken link in it. Here's a replacement. Please use it if you see it fit. These days, I use an outreach tool. I've used a few different ones, and I have no affiliation with any of the tools that I recommend, by the way. But at the moment, I'm using a tool called Ninja Outreach, which is pretty good.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they have a feature called custom fields, which I really like, where, all I need to do is dump the prospects in, and the tool will pull out, if I say, hey, site title, the tool will pull out the title of the site, make the emails feel a bit more personalized. And, I can say, I'm writing regarding this page on your website, page URL, and then the tool will pull the page URL from my prospect list. So, the emails look like they've all been manually written, which is a really important aspect for me.
Right. So what sort of a success rate do you have, or what's the time commitment? I mean, if I have a website that's on survival knives, for example, and I decide, okay, I want to do some broken link building, how much time do you think I'd have to put in before I get a link or some links?
I would say it depends on the sites that you're contacting, first of all. So it's worth saying straight off the bat, there are plenty of sites, Forbes.com, the Huffington Post. I would say it's not worth your time to even consider contacting these sites.
Right.
Firstly, you're gonna find it hard to contact the right person. You're gonna find it hard to get in touch with the person who's making the decisions on these things. And secondly, they just don't entertain those sorts of requests.
Right.
So really, you want to make sure that the sites that you're prospecting for are ideally a similar sort of level to your domain, maybe a bit more established. If your prospect list is looking like that, then I would say at least 1 in 10, ideally, you'd be looking for a link to be acquired from that. But something else I should point out is, so far I'm sounding like a very white hat SEO. One of the great things about broken link building is it's a great way to open the door towards paying for a link. If I'm asking to insert a link on a website because they've got a broken link and they knock me back, that doesn't mean the opportunity is gone. I then follow up with, okay, well, how much will it cost?
Mm-hmm.
So
okay.
I'm not, to me, the broken link building, if I'm acquiring white hat links, then excellent. But if I'm being knocked back, then I'm still, and I've had a look at their site and I think it looks like a good site, it's getting real traffic, it's not PBN, then I'm going to pursue that opportunity and, follow up to see if I can get a paid placement. So it's, I would just say for the white hat links, maybe at least 1 in 10, but ideally you want to be, 2, 3 out of 10 if you're willing to pay a little bit as well.
Okay. No, very good. Any other broken link building tips or strategies there? I know you probably have a couple other link building strategies we can chat about as well, but just was curious if there was anything else related to broken link building specifically.
What I would say is, as I've already said, if there was one thing that I think people could focus on, it is broken link building. It's a really nice way of doing link building as well. That there's an element of you're kind of fixing the internet. I've had some amazing responses, genuine amazing responses from prospects who've genuinely been very delighted that I'm helping them keep their website updated, and I'm also acquiring a link out of that, so it feels really good.
Yeah.
And also, one of the, there's just so many elements to broken link building that I love. You could get a guest post on a site, but that's brand new content that's going to have to get indexed, and it's going to have to pick up rankings, and it's going to have to, you're probably going to get a link in the footer, maybe if you're lucky. The thing I love about broken link building is it's very likely that you're going to get a link insert on a page that's been around for a while, a page that's maybe picking up keywords and traffic, a page that might actually have other links pointing at it from other sites, so you're getting a kind of tiered link benefit. So there's just, and also it's kind of, it just feels good, so it's kind of, there's so many factors to it that I just absolutely love. So yeah, go for it.
I agree. Yeah, it's a great strategy. Thanks for walking through very detailed there. I think that people could follow along with those steps after listening to that.
I don't want to send people to my site too much because I don't keep it too updated, but I do have a broken link building guide on my website that people can check out if they want. And if maybe on the back of this conversation, I'll include a few things that I've mentioned here to make sure it's updated. But
perfect. Yeah, we'll include a link to that page in the show notes
cool.
when I publish this podcast. So that's perfect. What other link building strategies? We can chat about maybe one or two more that are your favorites or unique or just things that are working well for you right now.
Okay, so I am a huge fan of Reddit as a user. I love it. I think it's a great place to interact. But as a SEO/link builder, it's like a dream. It's like there are so many subreddits on Reddit and so many active subreddits as well. Something I recommend anybody with an Ahrefs subscription to do is to put Reddit into Ahrefs and just get an idea of how much traffic that domain's getting. Look on the keywords and in the keyword search bar, type in keywords that are relevant to your site, just to get an idea of how much relevant traffic Reddit is acquiring for topics related to your website. And something I love about Reddit is the niche little subreddits about specific topics that are just so active. And each little subreddit is almost like a little website. And often these subreddits, again, you can use Ahrefs for this, often these subreddits have acquired links, from some pretty authoritative websites in their industry. So a great one that I was looking at the other day was, do you remember Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the TV show?
I do, yes.
Yeah, I mean, it was excellent. And there's a subreddit on Reddit, and it's still, that TV show hasn't been relevant for years, but it's still, you're talking about posts every day to this subreddit.
Wow.
People who love that show, and they're upvoting anything related to that show. And not only that, but that subreddit, because it's so active, it's probably the most active Buffy the Vampire Slayer community on the internet. It's acquiring links from, authoritative websites about films, about TV shows, because they're wanting to direct their readers whenever they mention Buffy the Vampire Slayer. They want to direct their readers to the busiest community around that topic. So on its own, this Buffy the Vampire Slayer subreddit is kind of like a little website, because another reason I love Reddit is when you submit a link to Reddit, it's do follow almost instantly. So it's, it only requires a couple of upvotes usually. And when you submit a link to a subreddit, for those that don't know, initially it can be no follow, but with a few upvotes, it turns, that changes to do follow, which means it does pass SEO value. And so something I love to do is find these niche little subreddits that are related to my website and tailor content for those subreddits to get upvotes and to drive traffic. And it's, to me, it's everything. It's like you're getting social signals. People don't talk about social signals much these days, but to me, they're still very relevant. Because you're getting upvotes on a high traffic domain and a lot of traffic, it helps your content get indexed faster. So if you've just published this post, you can put it through a subreddit and it'll help it to get indexed faster. It's, if you're getting upvotes and you get to the top of this subreddit or on the front page, you're essentially getting a do follow link from a page on the subreddit, on the Reddit domain, which has page authority. So it's like getting a really nice relevant link. And also you can drive a buttload of like relevant traffic. So to me, it's just like, again, something I like with link building, any link building tactic, is there has to be more than one benefit. That's kind of why I shy away from PBN stuff for the most part and guest post stuff for the most part. I sometimes feel like there's only one benefit. It's the SEO benefit, or it's,
right.
Whereas with a lot of these tactics, I try and look for things that are going to be most valuable for my time. So with this subreddit, a link building example, for example, I can drive relevant traffic quickly. I can get a really nice link, and I can get my content indexed really quickly. So, that's a nice little trio there.
Yeah, absolutely. So to clarify for people listening, when you say you're submitting content, you're creating sort of a new post on Reddit.
Yeah, like a submission.
Yeah. A new submission, you're not commenting on an old existing
No.
thread, correct?
No. So if you comment on an existing thread and post a link, that will always be no follow, no matter how many upvotes your comment gets. So you will have to post a link as a submission to the subreddit. And yeah, usually what I'll do is I'll take a look. So you can sort the subreddit by, what the most popular posts were over the past 12 months or whatever, past year or all time even.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll try and get an idea for what the community like. So whether that be, if we take the Buffy the Vampire Slayer example again, are they liking informational posts? Are they liking news updates about the show? Is it going to get remade? Are they liking memes? Just like whatever they like, I will try and create something that I know that they will like based on what they've upvoted previously. And that's kind of how I figure out the content.
And also, just to clarify, I mean, the content that's on your website, maybe explain what that is. I mean, are you just posting a little snippet of it on Reddit and then saying, click here to see more? Or is it, I mean, everything that's submitted to Reddit is essentially a link, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I would always
explain that a little bit.
I would always post. So I always want to get people onto a post. So you could submit a link to like an image file, for example, of a meme, right, if we're using that example. But then even if that image file is hosted on my website, there is no SEO benefit passed from an image file to the rest of my website, basically.
Right.
So it needs to be a post or a page that people can land on. And then within that page, I'll include internal links to other relevant pages on my site so that all of the upvotes and the SEO benefit coming from that Reddit submission are being sort of dispersed throughout the whole website, and also ideally the traffic. So yeah.
So could it be as simple as going back to your Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Maybe you see that they really like memes, right? And so maybe you do something as simple as creating your own meme, right? Like maybe you take an image, but just different text, right? That's whatever, funny or relevant or whatever.
Yeah, you could do that. Or what I would probably do instead would be I would create a post of the best Buffy Vampire Slayer, the best Buffy the Vampire Slayer memes ever made. And then within that post, I would compile maybe 10, 15 memes, giving credit to the author, obviously. And I would have an intro about the memes where I would include some internal links to other relevant pages on my site. Yep. And the conclusion where, again, relevant links. So I would be driving people to that page on my site, and I would be driving all the upvotes, all the social signals, all the traffic to that page. That's probably what I'd do.
That's awesome. That's perfect. That explains exactly what I was looking for. So
cool.
Very cool. That's a good strategy. My mind is sort of turning here with some ideas that I can do on my own websites as well. Nice. Have you found, because I know in the past I had tried some things on Reddit, and I found that Reddit can be sometimes somewhat brutal in basically getting your content taken down, saying this is promotional. Like, no part of it.
Yeah, and as somebody who uses Reddit, in my free time, like I take it really seriously. I don't want to feel like I'm spamming Reddit. So it's really important that you do research each subreddit that you're going to submit content to. So I'll say it again, at the top of each subreddit, there's an option to filter the submissions by, the most upvoted submissions of all time, and really take a look at what the community like. And, just give them more of that. The memes one is a great one. You don't, if you post a page about the best Buffy the Vampire Slayer memes, don't have an email pop up on that page. Don't try and get people to sign up to your newsletter on that page.
Right.
Just allow the traffic to come through to your website. Make it feel like a real bit of content with some discrete internal linking. Just make it a bit of content that they're going to like. And then, hopefully people will stick around. That's what you want, really, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And also, and maybe this is part of it, I mean, you mentioned that you're a regular user of Reddit, so you're probably also upvoting and maybe even submitting other things that aren't related to your affiliate sites. So you've got
Oh
a
yeah.
very natural looking account. Is that pretty critical? Because I know a lot of people like me, maybe I browse Reddit, but I don't actually have an account. I don't submit things. I don't upvote things. So if all of a sudden I start submitting, in a week, I submit 2 or 3 things all going to my own website. Reddit users are pretty savvy and they'll catch on to that, right?
They are, yeah. If you want to get more towards the black hat uses of Reddit, I suppose, I have more accounts than I can even remember right now. I have a lot of Reddit accounts. I've been using Reddit, it was one of the first things that I really caught onto when I was at that agency trying to figure out how to build links for 10 different clients. I realized that every Reddit submission was a do follow link that drove traffic, and I really just doubled down on that pretty quickly and realized the potential of that pretty quickly. I'll tell you something interesting as well. So there's one of the biggest subreddits on the platform is called Today I Learned, and something I used to do all the time for that subreddit, probably on a weekly basis, was create content tailored for that subreddit. So for anybody who doesn't know, Today I Learned is a subreddit where you just post a fact, basically a random fact. And I would create content on client websites that mention that fact, submit it to that subreddit, and I must have hit the front page of Reddit maybe about 9 or 10 times or something like that with these random like little local businesses, like mom and pop shops, and they were getting to the front page of Reddit, and their website would go down, and and that was back when it was a bit more like Wild West, like
Right.
people were still getting to grips with it, and it was pretty easy to get like 5,000 upvotes. Now, Today I Learned, they basically won't accept your submission unless you're Wikipedia. So it's become a lot trickier to do that stuff. So, and anyway, the niche subreddits, I've kind of come onto that tactic because you don't just get the upvotes, you get the relevant traffic as well. So I actually like that approach better. But
yeah, no, that's very cool. So I think we have time maybe for one more. If you've got one more link building strategy that you can share that is maybe unique or something you're using right now.
Okay, cool. So we've spoken so far about 2 strategies where the links that you're acquiring are going to be links to content mostly. You're not going to get links to your quote unquote money pages.
Right.
Something in terms of a tactic to get links to your money pages, something that I like to do is use images, so original imagery. So it's this weird thing where there's a Creative Commons license for imagery, right? And people are allowed to use imagery that's licensed under Creative Commons as long as they give a credit to the person who owns that image.
Right.
And one of the best ways to find images that are licensed under Creative Commons is to go into Google Images and filter it by allowed to reuse something. It's not that verbatim, but it's something like that. And all the images that are listed will have been listed as under Creative Commons. Now, if you were to do a reverse image search of one of those images, so say, for example, I've got my furniture website again, and I'm looking at recliner chairs on Google Images, and I do a reverse image search on a recliner chair image. And what that'll take me to is it'll take me to a Google search result page, and it'll show me all the websites using that image. And what I can do is I can check those websites to make sure that they're given the proper credit to the person who owns that image. If they're not giving credit to the person who owns that image, now you can check under the image. You can also check the bottom of the article to make sure they haven't given credit. You can also check the alt text of the image. Right click. If they haven't given credit to the owner of that image, then I am within my right to tell them that they're not allowed to use that image. Now, I'm not just going to do that because I'm not the internet police. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to offer them a replacement image that they're allowed to use. So if we take that recliner chairs example, obviously it requires you to have a nice picture of a recliner chair. You could either take that yourself, or you could buy the license for a recliner chair image and edit it to make it more unique to yourself. And you can find these sites incorrectly using images that are licensed under Creative Commons, and then say, listen, this image has been licensed under Creative Commons, they'll panic because that is, it's not a great thing to do. You shouldn't point them in the direction of who the image belongs to, because that kind of defeats the purpose. You just want to make them aware that what they're doing is incorrect. And then just nice and succinctly within one email, this image is licensed under Creative Commons, so you're not allowed to use it. Here is a very similar image that I own. Please feel free to use it. All that I ask is that you add this credit. And that's where you get the chance to include your link. And if you're talking about a recliner chair, and you've got a recliner chair money page, then point it to that. And the great thing is, you could even get kind of cheeky with the anchor text. If your website's called Furniture World, you could specify that the anchor text needs to be Furniture World recliner chairs. You can get a bit cheeky with the anchor text. You can ask them to have it underneath the image at the bottom of the article for a bit of diversity there. So that's another one where the prospecting is going to take some time,
right?
But the outreach can be scaled somewhat. But I think the types of links that you can acquire from that activity can be so, you're talking, again, it's links from aged pages that have been around for a while, but this time it's direct to your money pages, often with really nice anchor text. So I would say it's worth doing the hard work there. With the prospecting.
Yeah. So can you clarify how you get an image that you're putting on your page?
Well, you could buy an image from one of these sort of image websites, or you could just, ideally, what you want to do is take your own image, and upload it to Flickr, ideally. Because then you can point people to your Flickr page, which is even better because it feels less promotional. And on your Flickr page, you can have your credit that you want added. That's probably ideally. In fact, I would say 99% of the time you want to take your own image. So there will be some affiliate website owners out there who say, I can't take a photo of this because it's, I don't have one.
Right.
And then I would say, well, maybe you should get one. If you've got a website about it, maybe you should get one. So
that requires real work, though, Sam.
That's true.
No, that's another good strategy.
It's sorry, I was just going to say it's hard work. It's again, all of these strategies have been born out of me being pushed up against the wall and being told, build lots of links. And it's kind of, things like this are. They're creative, and also this is quite similar to the broken link building in that as long as you're not being too kind of aggressive in your initial email, you can make it feel really good, like you're telling people that they're doing something incorrectly, which they are. If they're using an image which is released under a license and they're not giving proper attribution to the owner of that image, they're doing the owner a disservice. So you're helping out the owner, you're helping out the website owner stay out of trouble, and you're getting a nice link to your original image. So it's kind of, again, it's got that kind of nice win-win-win. And then the ultimate sort of holy grail of this is that your image is then placed on, a high traffic article, which, other people syndicate and use the image and give you credit. So that means, more links to your image, which means your image starts appearing in Google Images, which means, other websites start linking to your website when they give you credit. It can kind of grow like that, which I really like as well.
Yeah. So when you do the initial reverse image search and you find, the list of here's all the websites using this particular image, are you looking for the images that have the most results, that are being used the most? Or is there something else you're sort of deciding on to figure out which image to sort of target? Yeah.
So to be honest, what I would usually do is look for images that have been uploaded to Flickr. I mentioned that previously, but the main reason for that is that a Flickr image is owned by an individual, whereas some of the images on Google Images will be owned by a company. So that company will not really care about the attribution. So you do have to be careful to make sure that you're finding an image which does genuinely require attribution to be used. And that's almost always specified on the Flickr page for that image. So, there's actually a Creative Commons search that you can use.
Right.
I can't remember the website off my head, but that might even be, just to get started, that might be a better place to start than Google Images. And you can specify to only show results from Flickr. And in there you could type in, recliner chair, and it'll show you recliner chair images that are required to be used with attribution. And then again, just from there, reverse image search, find the websites using that image incorrectly. All it takes is, a handful of websites using that image incorrectly that you could get a link on, and suddenly you've got a handful of relevant links. I'm assuming they're relevant links. If it's an article using an image of a recliner chair, you would assume the article has something to do with recliner chairs. So it's kind of like, there's lots of factors, again, that I like about that strategy. So
absolutely. I think it's a great strategy. Overall, you've given us 3 really good link building strategies: broken link building, sort of the niche subreddit link building, and then the Creative Commons link building strategy with images there. Really good stuff. I appreciate you coming on the Niche Pursuits podcast. Do you have any final tips, whether it's SEO tips or just general business tips, people that are building affiliate websites, any parting words that you'd like to leave with people?
Yeah, I would say if you're building an affiliate website, quickly identify what your shoulder niches are. So your shoulder niche would be anything that's somewhat related to your main topic, because quite often those shoulder niches will be where the broken link building, the image link building, the subreddit opportunities lie. So you've got to have a good understanding of what those shoulder niches are, and then you'll start realizing how many opportunities are actually there. And also, if you're serious about growing the organic traffic to your affiliate website, make link building a part of your day. I have a process. I have a to-do list every day that focuses around my link building, and I find it fun. I use tools to make it a bit easier. I also do my prospecting in big chunks. So at the start of the week, I'll find all of my prospects for the week, and then throughout the week, I'll just work through them. Just enjoy it at the end of the day, and don't be, you'll hear about lots of people online who are spending lots of money on link building, and that's cool if they don't have the time to do this. But if you've only got one site to manage, and you're sat there wondering how to grow it, then I hope these strategies are actionable for you.
I think so. Great advice. So if people want to get in touch with you, where would you like them to go? Is just your website the best place?
Yeah, just the website. As I say, it's kind of, it looks a bit old fashioned, and I don't update it as much as I should, but maybe if I see my analytics spike a little bit, I might feel encouraged to post a little. And yeah, there's guides for all 3 of those strategies, I think, on that website, but I'll update them to reflect what we've spoken about today.
Okay, very good. So people can go to linkjump.co.uk and they can get in touch with Sam or read the guides that he mentioned there. Sam, I appreciate you coming on the Niche Pursuits podcast. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much. I've had a really good time.
All right. Thank you.